To make your pattern of pants you already own, just lay out your pattern paper and then grab your pants and lay it on top of that. I'm starting with the back piece. I folded it with the back piece showing at the front or at the top, and I'm marking out that pattern piece with a pencil, and then I'll go back around with my ruler and with a marker to make those lines clear as well. I wanted my pants to be a bit bigger than the pattern that I'm tracing here, so I added 1 inch to the pants, and I also used 1/2 inch seam allowance on each side of the pant as well. So that's what you can see that I'll be doing here as well. I'm going through with a marker, like I said, to make those markings quite clear, so it's clear where I'm cutting. Key thing to remember that I actually didn't do, to make your pattern clearer when you're tracing out, make sure that you use a dotted or a spaced line for the seam allowance, and then a straight line, so a non-dotted line for the cutting line. So that just makes it easier if you're creating your pattern and then coming back to it, and it makes it really clear so you don't forget to add the seam allowance to your pattern as well. For the pants length, I knew I wanted mine to be 39 inches, so I measured that as well. Also note, I'm tracing out the pattern, but I'm excluding the waistband because I'm going to create or cut out the waistband separately to attach to the pants. So I'm just going ahead and marking out the length of the pants, and I'm extending the pants to make it a tiny bit bigger because I want it to have a slightly bigger fit as well. Remember to label the back and the front as well as the size on both of your pattern pieces so it's clear as well. Then I'm going to lay out my fabric and cut out the pattern pieces. So we want 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back, and I'm just making sure that when I cut, say the front piece for example, that I flip it to cut out the other piece, because we need one side to be on the right side of the fabric and one side to be on the wrong side of the fabric. Once you have your 4 pieces, I'm going to start with the back piece, and so what I'm doing is I'm laying the pieces together right sides facing, and then the crotch area, so the bit that has a little poking out bit, I'm going to pin those or pin that side together first, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the front piece. So again, you can see that this time I'm grabbing the front pieces and I'm laying it together right sides facing, and I'm just going to pin along the crotch line. If you want to use fabric clips, that's easier, it's up to you. Once you've pinned those sides together, you can jump over to your sewing machine and just stitch the crotch line on both the front and the back piece. I used a combination of a 3-step zigzag stitch, which I'll put on the screen, as well as a straight stitch. Granted, if you have a serger, you can use it instead, but I just used these 2 stitches to make sure that my fabric didn't fray and to make sure it was secure and neat as well. Once you have sewn the crotch on both sides, this is what you should be working with, and you just want to lay your front piece on top of your back piece, and then what we want to do is pin from the crotch, as you can see I'm doing here. I'm pinning all the way down from the crotch to the hem of the pants on both sides, and we want to pin the outer part of the pants as well. And at this point you should see that the pants are slowly starting to come together, which is exactly what we want. Once you've pinned those both sides, you can jump back onto your sewing machine and stitch those stitches with a zigzag stitch or a straight stitch, or whichever stitch you prefer to use. I'll put the stitch that I used on the screen in case you want to use it, and this is a great stitch if you don't have a serger, you want your stitches to come up neat and you don't want it to fray. My go-to is to use the stitch and then to go back through with a straight stitch to make the seams really neat. So now I'm creating the waistband for the pants. So what I'm doing is measuring on the pants that we've just sewn the current waistband measurement. What I'd say is just make sure that that measurement is wider, at least 1 inch wider than your hips. Otherwise you won't be able to pull it up if you're using non-stretchy fabric. And then I'm going to grab my extra material and I'm going to mark out the measurement that we just took, adding 1 inch for seam allowance. For the width of the waistband, I want my waistband to be about 2 inches wide, so I'm cutting out 5 inches, which will be folded in half, and then minus half an inch seam allowance, which will take me to 2 inches for the entire waistband. I'll put the measurements on the screen as well, so it's super clear, so you can figure out the formula to creating your waistband width as well. So I've cut out the waistband and I've stitched it to make it kind of like a tube, and then I'm just folding it in half, as you can see here, to get it ready for me to attach to the pants. Next you want to grab the pants, and now we're going to attach the waistband to the pants itself. So I'm starting with the sides and I'm pinning all the way around. As the fabric is really thick, if you do have fabric clips, now is the time to bring out your fabric clips and use those instead of the pins. If you don't, then just take your time and pin all the way around. So we're pinning all the way around. Just remember when you're stitching on your sewing machine to leave 1 inch unsewn, because we need to add the elastic band into this waistband once we've stitched it. Once you have stitched the waistband, this is what it should be looking like. Then I'm grabbing my 1 inch elastic with a safety pin, and I'm going to find that gap that I left unsewn and thread or loop through the safety pin with the elastic, going all the way around until it comes out the other side. Once you've looped the elastic through, you can stitch it together either by hand or on your sewing machine. And once we've secured that, we're going to find that 1 inch gap that we left unsewn, and we're going to stitch that on our sewing machine, and then the waistband is done. We're finally at the last step, guys. So the last step you want to take is hemming the pants. I left a 1 inch seam allowance at the bottom because it would make it easier doing a rolled hem for this. So I'm measuring it out to make sure the length of the pants is the length that I want it to be. I'm just clipping or cutting off the excess, and then I'm going to do a rolled hem, so folding the fabric once and then folding it again and then pinning, and I'm going to stitch. I repeat that for both sides and stitch around with a straight stitch. And once you hem the pants, you're good to go. I'm literally obsessed with these pants, especially in these winter months at the moment. If you did enjoy this tutorial, let me know in the comments, leave a like, and also let me know if you'd like to see me create a tutorial on the top for this pant set as well. For more easy sewing tutorials, make sure you check out these videos.